The study of personality has posed a problem for psychologists. The question, who am I, is so broad that it can have many different interpretations. Throughout the history of personality psychology, various studies have been debated and argued so much that their credibility has become unclear. One of the few studies of personality that has survived criticism and has become a building block for other such studies is psychologist Julian Rotter's research into where people see the location of control in their lives. Julian Rotter was born in 1916 in Brooklyn, New York. He earned a doctorate in psychology at Indiana University and is known for his studies of both social learning theory and locus of control. Rotter believed that a key factor in determining an individual's personality is knowing how they interpret the results of their behavior. The theory proposes two distinct ways that people think about the consequences of their actions. People who see themselves as subject to fate, luck, or another person perceive an external locus of control. On the other hand, a person who takes personal responsibility for the things that happen in their life has an internal locus of control. Rotter theorizes that this tendency to see things as controlled by either oneself or an outside force develops from a person's past experiences. If a child is rewarded for his actions, he will learn that by behaving a certain way, he will create a certain outcome. If a child does not learn this connection between behavior and its consequence, he will perceive that what happens to him is not the result of anything that he has done. Rotter wrote that these generalized expectancies will result in characteristic differences in behavior in a situation culturally categorized as chance-determined versus skill-determined. To measure a person's perceptions of the locus of control, Rotter developed a test known as the IE scale. He gave subjects a survey with pairs of statements. In each pair, one statement reflected an internal locus of control, and the other reflected an external one. The test was given to subjects who were unaware of its real goal, and filler statements were added to hide its purpose. Though originally the test contained as many as 60 pairs of statements, it has been revised many times and now has 23 pairs. By comparing the number of statements that a subject chose which reflected an internal locus of control with the number they chose that reflected an external locus of control, Rotter was able to determine certain tendencies. External people, who view the world as controlled by something other than themselves, were more likely to place riskier bets when gambling. They were also more likely than internal locus of control people to smoke, and tended to spend less time on schoolwork. People who perceive an internal locus of control have higher achievement motivation and are less likely to conform to majority opinions. These results reinforce the idea that someone who takes responsibility for their own actions is more favorable and more likely to succeed than someone who blames fate for anything that happens to them. In discussing the results of his tests, Rotter reasoned that a person's locus of control can be influenced by cultural and socio-economic differences, as well as parenting styles. One study found that different ethnic groups have varying rates of internal and external locuses of control. Although there was not much research to prove it, Rotter thought that socio-economic levels may have had an effect on locus of control. He also proposed that a parenting style that is inconsistent in giving rewards and punishments may create an external child. There has been little criticism of Rotter's theory, as no other study or theory has ever disproved it. However, Rotter himself warned that a person's locus of control is only relatively stable. Given a certain situation, an internal person may become more external, and vice versa. The IE scale has been very widely used within the world of psychology and in other ways as well. The Cleveland Indians baseball team even hired a psychologist to determine prospective players' locus of control. The IE scale was modified to contain mostly sports-related questions, but still measured the same thing. Players with an internal locus of control were preferred because they believe they have more power in determining the outcome of a game.